Hey folks, it's Jim. We're going to do answer to a question we had. Wonderful question, by the way. And remember, I'm not an economics or financial advisor, and this is not economics or financial advice. This is just my vision, okay? Okay, so what is debt per capita? That was one question, and that is the number of people divided into the total debt. So in our case, in America, we have 350 million people approximately into approximately $20 trillion. That's why we come up with the $61,000 and change. That's also on the debt clock. You can go on debtclock.org or something. Look up almost every country in the world's debt, except for those who aren't shown because they don't have any debt, and they're not telling you that either. There's a lot of countries out there that are doing pretty darn good, folks. Even Germany has a surplus. That's why Trump's out of the Paris Accord. Why aren't they paying their bills to the international club? And then they're wanting to slap another $100 trillion on the world. But they're not even paying their share. So, pack sand. Anyway, here we go. So would I want to pay the debt and become a natural man, or, you know, not have to pay taxes anymore, was the question. First answer is, even if you paid the debt, you would not be a natural man, in essence that you are in a territory of a state territory, right? And you're also in a county and a township. All have the ability to tax you. So even if you were to pay your federal debt, no, it wouldn't do you any good. So next is, does natural man exist? Yes, there are aborigines, there are a few tribal cultures and small cultures around the world that still do exist and that are allowed to exist. But for the most part, natural man does not exist in the Western world, for the most part. Why? Because all land is owned. Therefore, does natural man exist? And no, if you have a birth certificate, obviously not, right? So anyway, and would I want to be a natural man again? Not if I had children or people I was responsible for. Because let's say one of your children got sick and needed emergency medicine or something of that nature. You know, back in the prairie days when children died, parents didn't feel guilt because it was natural phenomena that took place. Today, we can prevent 90% of that natural phenomena of death in our children, and we would feel very guilty if we didn't participate in preventing that. So just from a psychological, emotional standpoint, I would not even consider this if I had people I was responsible for. And the most important reason as to why I would not pay off the debt. Here's why. Say we get to the point they've cut, like I have a military pension, so they're going to cut our pensions 30%, all federal employee pensions 30%. Then they're going to probably cut a bunch of stuff by 30%. Then they're going to get down to cutting welfare by 30%. Let's say if the whole country's going down, right? And they're going to do all that first. Then what's going to happen if we follow Greece is they will freeze the banking system. So you'll only be able to get so much money out of your bank, but it will still be there, okay, if you have less than $100,000 or $250,000, depending on what rule they decide to go by. Greece has the one that they picked for them. But then they're going to fleece the rich first, then the petit bourgeois, which is the upper middle class, and then the middle class. And if you have more than $250,000 in cash and equities and things like that, yeah, you got to worry. But for the average American citizen, they don't have that. So, and by the time they did get to that level, the whole country would be on fire. And can you imagine go to Texas and Utah or Tennessee, trying to collect the money from Tennessee? Holy crap, man, good luck with that. You know what I mean? They're just not going to collect that money. So don't worry about it. But here's a more important reason from a mathematical perspective, just basic economics. If the nation starts going down and the world dumps our debt trying to get a few pennies on that debt they bought, the debt's going to drop to about 50 cents on the dollar, in which case the United States will buy it back. So the debt will be cut in half. And this is a economics warfare that's going on, which I can't get into on this video. I'm just answering a question. But that's why China won't dump our debt. Okay, it doesn't behoove them to do so, because if the U.S. debt starts dropping, everybody's going to pay because everybody owns that debt, right? Because it's been the world's reserve currency. But we would work out like bandits if they sold the debt, because we could buy it back at 50 cents on the dollar, thereby cutting this in half. And then the price of our hard assets would be going up so much that we would probably only be paying 10 cents on the dollar for this. And I hope that makes sense to you. If there's a fire sale on U.S. debt, boom, it will drop to about 50 cents on the dollar, and everybody will be desperate trying to get anything they can get for it. At that point, the U.S. will buy its own debt. And can you see the game afoot? There's an economic war in the world going on, folks, and it's teetering, okay, in a lot of places. And as I continue this video series, I'm going to explain it all to you. But would I buy back the debt? The answer to the question is not only no, but hell no, for the reasons I've just explained. It is not prudent. Would I want to even try to become a natural man, which I don't believe exists anymore, because then you have state territories, counties, and townships. I don't think natural man can exist in the current Western civilization structure. And there are Aborigines and a few others, but as you know, they are few and far between and on different continents, more or less. But anyway, no, don't sell the debt, because if there's a fire sale and we're down, to the point the debt's going to collapse anyway, and the U.S. will buy it back quickly at 50 cents on the dollar and stabilize itself rapidly. People don't tell you this. The game afoot is very large, folks. Just keep watching my series. I'm going to open your eyes to how all this works. Stop. Don't live in fear. Fear nothing. I will show you why. Because even at the worst case scenario, in the end, it's going to work out for all of us. And I will show you that. It will be rough. It will be scary. But in the end, I have a scenario that works out just complete. So keep watching the series, please, and keep sending in these wonderful questions. I'm glad you did. Thank you, Rob, and welcome aboard, because I would have never thought to answer that question. So thank you so much for the question. Jim out.